20,000 subscribers. That's crazy to me. I know in the world of YouTube that's not a whole lot, but to me it's absolutely insane to think that 20,000 people have at one point come across one of my videos and said, hey, that nerdy dude who's talking about hi-fi gear while rocking graphic tees and the same ball cap in pretty much every single video, I like him, to the point to where I want to see what he has to say in the future. That's crazy to me. I think you all are a little bit insane, but you know what? That's okay because I'm thankful that you're here. Now, instead of celebrating this moment by posting up some sappy thank you video, instead, I want to do something a little different. I want to use this as a launching point for a new series that I'm going to call Zero F's Given. And this is where I basically use this as an opportunity to riff about subjects without a filter that I feel that aren't very well represented in the hi-fi industry. And I feel like there's no better way to do this than to start off by talking about Zero Fidelity and to really put myself out there and to reveal what I actually take away from running this channel. Beyond the poetic stuff of, well, it feels good to contribute to the community and all that, right? Let's talk about money. Let's talk about gear. Let's talk about the work that I do behind the scenes and really just lift that curtain up so you can see exactly what I'm all about. And I think this is important because in recent past, I've made it clear that I don't do the traditional thing, right? I don't charge money for my reviews. I don't take in free gear in exchange for reviews. I don't do sponsorships. I don't have a Patreon account because this isn't really a brand. And while all of that's true, I still have found ways to make this worth my while. So what I'm going to do is I basically have 5 really hard-hitting questions I want to go over. Now, these are all questions that I've gotten either from you guys or people within the industry. I admit that I've cherry-picked them just a little bit because I really want to give myself the opportunity to answer questions that honestly I probably shouldn't even approach right now, but that's okay. I mean, the whole point of this is to step outside of my comfort zone and again, to riff about a subject with no filter. And in this case, it's what really goes on behind the scenes and what people like myself do to make this worth their while. So I'm going to take a quick water break and then we're going to get to the questions. Snap fingers. Yeah. All right, so now that I'm hydrated, let's get to the questions. Starting with question number 1. Do I make money from my videos on Zero Fidelity? And the answer is yeah. Actually, as of January, I finally joined a YouTube affiliate program, which means I'm making that YouTube money now, son. Only there ain't exactly a whole lot of money to be made from posting videos about hi-fi. So to be completely transparent with you guys, I earn roughly $420 to $450 a month through ad revenue on my videos. And again, these videos are only going to be relevant from January onwards. Most of my content before then featured copywritten material, so I don't get anything out of that. So that's basically what I get per month off of my videos. And I don't think it's going to change at all. I think that's going to pretty much be my average from this point moving onwards. Now you have to bear in mind at the end of the year, you take that total and then you have to subtract 30% for taxes, and that's going to be what the actual take-home pay is going to be. And still, it's better than nothing, right? And it's a good thing that I don't really depend on it for a living because $450 a month, I mean, that's not exactly a lot. But still, because I don't depend on it for a living, I get to look at this from a different perspective because I get to say, hey, you know what? This may be a poor investment in terms of time equity, but at least I get paid to sit here and talk about hi-fi, and it's just enough to cover some bills. So that's cool. So the answer is yes, and honestly, it may not be much, but at least it means something. At least I'm making something now, right? All right, so next question. How often do I get to keep the gear that's sent to me? Oh, man. That is a great question. So the answer is yes, I do have opportunities to keep the gear that's sent to me, and sometimes I'll take advantage of those opportunities. So let's talk about that. When you're a reviewer, there's going to be a number of different perks that are afforded to you, starting with the fact that if there's something that you're interested in, usually you'll be able to get great pricing on that component. Sometimes you'll be able to get it on a long-term loan, and every once in a while, you may even get it for free. So let's talk about that. When it comes to free gear, yeah, I've gotten free gear before. The Mistral Audio Bow A2s. Now granted, the packages were completely destroyed. The speaker, at least one of the speaker's tweeter module was completely crushed. I did the repairs and all that. But when everything was said and done, I got to keep them. This right here, the little Lockstee integrated amplifier. Yep, got to keep that too. Pretty cool. The Iota VXSA3, they loved the review and said, yeah, keep the gear. And it's important to note that I won't always do this. I have to find value into holding on to the gear for myself. and I have to personally like it, and I feel like it's something that I have to use as a nice reference piece for reviews, because that's of course an important thing, to have a baseline that you can constantly turn to. Now, there's been plenty of opportunities to where companies have wanted me to keep the gear, and I really had to fight to get it back to them, especially when it comes to affordable components, because a lot of manufacturers, when they send it to you, they never have an intention of getting it back because it's just not worth their while. The shipping cost, and then having to deal with the product and inspect the product and sell it at a B stock price, like for them, they would just rather write it off. Now, let's talk about long-term loans. I don't really like long-term loans because it means it's not your property, right? You don't own it. It's just a company saying that, hey, we're going to leave it with you to use for whatever, and when you're done with it or when we want it back, we'll let you know, right? I don't really like those arrangements. Plus, I get kind of paranoid about having somebody else's stuff in my home that I didn't really pay for. So whenever a company wants to do this, I'll let them know that, hey, anything that happens to this gear, I mean, that's going to be on you. I hope it's insured because I am not going to cover it. But still, there are occasions to where I'll keep something on long-term loan. In fact, let me give you an example. Hold on just a second. Let me put the laptop down. I'm going to move this. It just helps to get a visual reference, right? All right. So this is going to be the Klipsch RP600M, a popular bookshelf speaker, and it's a product that a lot of you ask me about. In fact, in any video that has a product featuring, say, a speaker that's $1,000 or less, nowadays pretty much everyone wants to know, how does it compare to this speaker? So obviously, in this case scenario, it's worth it for me to hang on to the product, even though, to be quite honest with you guys, I would love to send it back to Klipsch. But for now, it makes sense for me to use it as this reference point that I can use not only for the evaluation process, but also for the bonus sections when I tell you all about how certain speakers compare to one another. So yeah, there's value in it, and there has to be value in it. Otherwise, I just don't want the stuff around in my house. So yeah, I do keep some components around on long-term loan, but typically I try not to, just because it's an arrangement that I don't really care for. And lastly, let's talk about discounts. So last week I bought a pair of Harbeth P3 ESRs, the 40th anniversary models. Now, of course, I didn't get them for free. That would have been awesome. But I did get landed US distribution cost, which isn't a bad price, right? I'm not going to complain about it. But yes, I took advantage of the fact that, okay, cool. So I can't get them for free, but at least I'll get them at a pretty good deal. And if I ever need to sell them down the road, then I can do so and probably turn a profit off of it. And plus, it's kind of nice to know that this is my product, right? I mean, I paid for it. It's now mine. And there's something to be said for that. So anyways, I guess the answer is yes, I do get to keep gear. How often? It could be very often if I want it to be. And actually, before I move on, I almost forgot. 2 weeks ago, I did make it clear in my video that if I work with companies on multiple projects, and I'm talking about 3 videos or 4 videos, then at some point I'm going to need to get something out of it. And by this, I mean a long-term loan or something that I get to keep for myself. And I'm doing this just because I've come to find there's many companies out there that if you basically show them that you're willing to do work for free, they are going to take advantage of that like nobody's business. And there does come a point to where you do need to advocate for yourself a little bit. And if you haven't done this before, it's kind of difficult to understand how much work goes into these reviews. But trust me, if you do this for a while, I think you'd agree that this is a very fair approach to handling a situation like that. So anyways, now we can move on. Okay, question number 3. So this is going to be the juicy one right here. Have you worked with any hi-fi company, and if so, who? So I don't think I've made it a secret that, yes, I do help out hi-fi companies behind the scenes. And 9 times out of 10, they have nothing to do with Zero Fidelity whatsoever. Like, there's not even a confluence of interest in terms of the kind of products that those companies offer. But every now and again, Zero Fidelity will enable me to meet somebody at a different company, which in turn results in some kind of meaningful revenue stream for me. So I'm going to give you guys 2 specific examples. The first is going to be HiFi Audio. Now this goes all the way back to 2016, and basically the story goes like this. I posted a review of the Retro Stereo 50 integrated amplifier, and then I sent a message to their Facebook group saying, hey, look what I did, and give me your feedback. And they reached back out to me and said, oh man, the owner wants to talk to you. So I was thinking, okay, cool. That means they either really like the review or they really hate the review. So I took the phone call, and as it turns out, they knew who I was. We had a mutual friend who is very much aware of my professional experience in building markets for companies, mostly outside of audio. And basically, I received a job offer. Fast forward to almost 2 weeks later, and I found myself running the US branch for the company. So I basically had to head up US distribution. This means having to build a company all over again from scratch, building a team, maintaining accounts, signing on new accounts, growing the business. Oh my God, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. And I did this for exactly a year. I joined a company in, I think it was April of 2016, and then I left April 2017. And those of you who've been with Zero Fidelity for a while may have remembered that Zero Fidelity pretty much went dead during that time. I didn't have time to post videos, and even then, I thought it was a little bit weird to post videos about hi-fi while running a hi-fi company. So I just didn't do it. So now let's just go ahead and give you a couple more examples. There's another product that I was recently dealing with. Hold on for a sec. Channeling. So obviously this is not the kind of stuff that I talk about on Zero Fidelity, nor would I want to. I don't have a personal interest in it. But I do know somebody who is interested in heading up the North American market for this company. And because I know a lot of the buyers for some of the larger retailers out there, I said, you know what? Let me see if I can help you out. So we hashed out some details and we got the ball rolling. And when you really got down to it, about a month into the gig, I realized that this wasn't really a tenable situation. So I bailed out of it. And this is actually a good example of something that doesn't work out too well. I ended up taking nothing out of that gig, except for, I guess, technically what you're looking at right here, right? But nonetheless, so that's something that I dabbled with that wasn't necessarily a success for X, Y, and Z reasons. And then lastly, here's going to be the bombshell. The only company that I think you guys are truly familiar with that I've helped out is Bacart Audio. So there it is, Bacart Audio. Only I didn't really start helping them out until well after my review was published. In fact, we first started working together in almost December of 2018, and I agreed that I would not help grow their brand whatsoever. So it's not like I'm putting on the Bacart Polo and suddenly I'm helping to promote their products and so on and so forth. No. I just recognized that this company is doing things the right way behind the scenes, and all they needed was a push and a nudge here and there to really be moved in the best direction possible. Just so happens I have experience and I'm able to offer that good advice. Now granted, it's up to them to take it or leave it, and quite frankly, half the time they freaking leave it, but nonetheless, I said, hey, I'm willing to help you, provide you with advice, and provide you with what I know, and to even help out with logistics in the United States. You need a place to ship the gear, I can arrange that for you. You need a UPS account, I can arrange that for you, and now we're going to get somebody to take over it, etc., etc. I can do that for you, but I'm not going to do that for free. Because while I love this stuff, and I will oftentimes provide advice to people for free, if I'm going to do actual work like this, then you bet your butt I'm going to charge for it. Now, with them, to be completely clear, I let them know that, hey, if I do this, I can't review any more of your product. Plain and simple, I can't review it anymore. Like, there's just too much of a conflict of interest there, which is okay because, quite frankly, I don't think they're coming out with anything new for a while. So there's that. And then number two, I have to make it clear that any relations that we have is not going to influence how I answer people's questions. And a good example is, earlier today, somebody asked me, should I go with the Tecton? Should I go with Bacart? Should I go with this or that and the other? And I didn't recommend the Bacart because it's just not a good fit for them. There's a better product that would better suit their needs. And I made it clear that I'm going to recommend what I feel is the best product for somebody. Zero Fidelity is over here, and anything that I do is going to be completely separate. So that's going to be full transparency. And I actually applaud Bacart because I already let them know I'm going to go public with this information. In fact, this is something we discussed months ago, but I'm only just now getting around to it. And yeah, I applaud them because they already know that, hey, there is no conflict of interest going on. And I think it's important for people to understand what really happens behind the scenes. And quite frankly, I have a lot of fun because they're pretty cool people doing pretty cool stuff. And it's fun to just have insight into watching this little company grow into something impactful and meaningful and to do it all the right ways. It's very rare for a hi-fi company to do everything the right way. So it's pretty cool. All right, so the last question. How do you feel about channels who charge money for reviews? This is something that I've gotten actually from quite a few of you out there. Because I've been famous for saying, well, I don't take in money and I don't take in gear and blah, blah, blah. And while that's true, I don't have anything against the people who do. Because here's the bottom line. Unless you've done this before, it's very difficult to appreciate how much time and effort and energy goes into producing these videos. I mean, just a Zero Fidelity video alone takes an entire day to film. And you guys look at what I do, right? I mean, it's pretty basic. So imagine how much time and effort to people who are really doing this on a professional level. Just imagine how much goes into it. I mean, we're talking between 20 to 60 hours per video, especially for those who like to provide added value with measurements and sound clips and all that different stuff. So I feel like there's no problem with getting something in exchange for your hard-earned work if you're good at it, if you're fair about it, and if you don't let the money influence how you come up to a conclusion with a product, then I see nothing wrong. And I think it's perfectly okay to get something in exchange. In fact, I would advocate for it because, as I've mentioned earlier in this video, I've been through a few situations recently to where some companies just want to take advantage of you, and they're going to steamroll you if they can. I don't know why I just started stumbling over my words. Probably a sign to wrap up this video. So anyways, guys, those are going to be the 5 hard-hitting questions with 5 of the most transparent answers that I can possibly give you. Hopefully you've taken something away from this. This is the very beginning of the series, hopefully not the very end of this channel, but nonetheless, guys, if you made it this far, I don't know how you've done it, but I nonetheless appreciate it. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.